What's up, everybody? King of Fomo here, coming at you with your daily crypto update. Today we're going to be talking about yet another Wolf Game Police and Thieves clone called the Far West Games. Now, based on my experience, I've been in quite a few of these things now, these different types of farming games, and they are pretty easy to do well with, especially if you get in early. But do keep in mind there have been plenty of rugs and complete and total scams based on just the hype train that's going with these Wolf Game clones. So I can't speak and say that it's going to be a project that's guaranteed to be successful, because we did just have a few other rugs from other games that personally I didn't jump into earlier today. But Far West Games has similarities to Yield Hunt and Police and Thieves, but it also has like some different tweaks, which is why I jumped into this and why I'm kind of stocking up on this before I think a lot of people are going to FOMO into it. So we're going to read through the white paper for Far West Games, pretty much just the different parts, the important parts that make it interesting to me, and we can take a look at the website and tell you guys some of the positives and negatives about this thing overall. Now, before I continue, make sure you guys head on over to my Patreon page and become a patron. If you do that, you're going to get access to two things. You'll get access to some of my videos 2 to 3 days early. I haven't been releasing my videos early recently, but more importantly, you're going to get access to my Discord, and in my Discord we talk about this stuff all the time. So like Far West Games was brought up I think a couple days ago before I made this video, so if you want to jump in on this stuff early and vet it yourself before I kind of do my own vetting, then that Patreon page is going to be great for you. Also, I want to preface before I get into this as well, I do want to talk about Pocket Network before the end of this video. I'm going to make a dedicated video to Pocket Network. I did decide to buy 2 nodes of this. Now it's going to be a different dedicated video because this is a very expensive venture, but I do think that it's going to probably be similar to Strong Block and how that took off and became very profitable for people. I think that this is, if you could afford 1 or 2 of these nodes, this is going to be a very lucrative platform, but we'll get to that a little bit later. First of all, let's talk about Far West Games. So the website looks like this. Minting is actually really slow right now. There's not a whole lot of marketing and there's not a whole lot of trust right now for the project. I'll get into the reason why in a second, but currently they're at 3,070 mint, and it's been selling a lot slower than your other Avalanche Wolf Game clones. So right now is either a good time for you to avoid it at all costs because of the cautions that people are having, or it's a good time to try and get some of these things on the cheap, especially if you're looking on secondary market. Some of these things are selling for like 1.3 AVAX or even lower, when the mint price for this is pretty steep. Honestly, I think it's a lot, like off the top of my head, I think it's steeper than your other games, Yield Hunt and Police and Thieves. So we'll see kind of how everything works out with these guys being a lot more expensive at mint than normal. But let's take a look at the white paper. Again, I'm not going to baby you with the details from kind of the similarities. If you guys want to know how exactly these games work in detail, watch my video about Police and Thieves, the first one that I made. Pretty much everything is exactly the same to start. So you have your 2 different tribes here. I think in this case it's the Indians and the Cowboys. I'm pretty sure those are the 2 things. So the Cowboys are like the cops, the Indians are like the thieves in this sense, where everything works pretty much exactly the same to start. You can stake your Cowboys with no risk. They get 20% taxes. Unstaking your Indians is going to result in a 50% chance of losing everything. So again, nothing really new to look at right here. Pretty much it looks like a carbon copy clone, and in that case I wouldn't be like super interested in carbon copy clones, especially not holding them for a long time. But they do actually go into a little bit more detail than some of the other clones about the maximum supply, when the supply ends, they're going to be closing off the tap, and how much is going to be in their liquidity pool, that kind of thing. And of course, like I said, their minting cost is at minimum 1.4 AVAX per whitelist, and most people are paying 1.7 AVAX right now, and it is currently in generation 0 if you want to scoop these things up at 1.7 AVAX if you think that is a cheap price. Continuing on here, now one of the biggest reasons why a lot of people aren't minting at the current moment is because the liquidity has not been added yet. So you can farm these diamonds right now. As you can see, I have are these gold, what I think they're called gold in this game. So you can see that I have 21 Indians staked right now, and they're all earning gold. I can claim that right now, but I can't sell that until that liquidity is added. And I think that is one of the main drawbacks as to why people are not going to really touch it until that liquidity is added. Because again, there have been scams in the past couple days of these game clones where the liquidity is stolen pretty much, but they do have a few things going for them that made me say, you know what, I'm gonna try this and trust this a little bit on my own. And one of those things is they do have a multi-signature required to move the funds around, so that's 3 different addresses, which is, you know, a little bit better. It's not foolproof in terms of liquidity being rugged, but it's nice that they do have that multi-signature required, so that not technically, theoretically, not one person can just decide everything for the huge amount of liquidity that's going to be added. The second thing is they did do KYC, so you guys can look at their Discord and see that what kind of KYC they did. So those are both kind of things that, in my opinion, are good for these games. So going back to the white paper, here's the difference between this game and Police and Thieves and a few other ones. One of them is you have items. So you have 2 different items. Now, I'm not entirely sure how these items work or how many is going to be available or anything like that. And I'm also, like, personally, the way that I did the math, I don't think these items are worth picking up, but maybe they will be. We'll see. So the first one is the Chariot. So the Chariot allows you to unstake, I believe it means all of your cowboys. So hopefully it's not just one, or all of your Indians. Hopefully it's not just one. But it allows you to unstake all of your Indians with 15,000 gold instead of 20,000 gold. So a lot of people, if you want to sell them on the side market, you have to wait until you accumulate at least 20,000 gold before you can take out your Indians. With this Chariot, you can unstake them a little bit earlier than everyone else, if that kind of helps your strategy. The second item here is the pickaxe. Now again, not entirely sure how big of a deal this is going to be, but the pickaxe does increase your production of your Indian, and I'm not sure if it's just one or multiple, hopefully it's all of them, of your Indian by 10% in one day. So instead of earning 10,000 gold, you're going to be earning 11,000 gold every day with your Indians. And it says the price of these things, so the price of this Chariot is 0.6 AVAX, and the price of a pickaxe is 1 AVAX. So doing the math, I'm not sure if that's worth it, depending on if an extra 1,000 gold a day is going to be worth 1 AVAX. We will see. So I'm not sure if there'll be other items, but we'll see kind of what comes there. So that's a cool addition. But that's not the thing that I was super kind of excited about. I like this right here. They're doing a vault. I mean, vaults have been shown to help the price of the token a lot, so that's nice. But they're also doing this thing right here called the anti-inflation tax. So what this means, and this is kind of interesting to me for the tokenomics, if you decide to claim your gold, so let's just read it out loud. So it says, we have decided to implement a tax to limit the inflation of gold. It will be paid to each person who it will be paid by each person who wants to claim his gold according to the following table. So if you claim your gold on the first day, you're going to be hit with a 50% inflation tax. Now, again, I'm not entirely clear if that means the first day of the platform or the first day of your particular Indian or cop that you staked. If you claim on the second and third day, you're going to be paying a 20% tax. If you claim on the fourth and fifth day, it's a 10% tax. If you claim on the sixth and seventh day, it's a 4% tax. So that's the difference. And let me go back up here because I forgot that this is a little bit of a difference too. That's the difference between this game and all the other ones. And in fact, I think the Cowboys get a little bit less compared to the other games due to the fact that they added this tax right here that encourages people to hold the token for a longer period of time. Now, is it going to be the best play to hold for 6 or 7 days? I'm not sure if the token, obviously, if the token drops more than 50%, then that's going to be a bad deal. But it's definitely adds an element that I think is going to be interesting for the token and for how people are going to play this game for the longer term. So again, and this is another positive, if they can add this feature without any major flaws, then that shows that these developers are potentially competent enough to code instead of copy and paste, which is one of the big things that I look for when I'm looking for these clone games. So anyway, that is everything for this video. You guys can check out Far West Games for yourself. Again, I'm not giving them the stamp of approval. All these things take with a grain of salt, a big chunk of salt, because you know they've all had like rocky launches. Everything has had something go wrong with this launch. In this case, it's liquidity being added a little bit late for Yield Hunt. It was the website was broken for the first like day and a half. So hopefully these guys have the integrity to keep the game going for as long as possible and do not just rug as we've seen with some of these other types of games. So that is everything for Far West Game. Do your own research on this. And again, follow my Patreon chat if you guys want to find these games early. I know that's one of the big things that people talk about. You know, how do you find these games early? A lot of us talk about it in different places. So let me go ahead and give you a preview of hopefully my next video. Now, what I'm doing right now is I'm in talks. I'm doing some emails with Coder, which again, I'll talk more about who they are in the next video. And so in order to run a Pocket node, it requires a lot of technical know-how. Like if you just know computers a lot, that's not enough. You have to know how to run nodes, which is a little bit beyond my technical skills. You know, maybe 6 months from now, I'll try to learn it, but I don't have the time to do that right now. It also requires hardware or at least VPSs, purchasing that stuff and setting things up. And, you know, I would definitely be up for learning that. But the downside is if you do it wrong, you risk losing literally everything that you put in. So what I'm doing instead is I'm going to be running my nodes with a third party, and that third party is going to be taking 40% of the profits that I make. That's why I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, that I can actually learn to do how to do this on my own later, because that's a pretty big chunk. But I'm doing some shopping that seems to be the standard rate, 40% at the current moment. So what does Pocket Node get you? So again, I'm going to make this really short because I want to talk about this in another video. Currently at the price for Pocket Node is $1.28. It just had a fire sale yesterday. It was about like $1.17 earlier today. So and the all-time high was 10 days ago at $3.11, and I do think that it has the potential to move a lot higher. And what that means is if it does go the direction that I think it's going to go and crypto also recovers, then you could be looking at an easy 3x, potentially 5x, if everything goes according to plan in the most positive way. So what does that mean for earnings? This is running 2 nodes. So to run 1 node, you need 15,000 Pocket tokens. So at $1, 15,000 Pocket tokens is $15,000. At more than $1, it's going to be more than that. That's why this thing's a little pricey. So I'm going to be planning on running 2 Pocket nodes here. What that's going to earn me monthly is about 600 Pocket tokens, and if the price can sustain itself at that nice price that I'm predicting, which is probably a closer to a 3x, so you're looking at most positive if it gets to a 5x, about $4,577 monthly. So that's why I'm really excited about this thing and kind of how it works. And with that 60% cutoff, you know, you're still looking at $2,746 per month. So that's why I'm willing to accept that 60% share and in this period of time, and hopefully learn how to do this on my own later so I can claim that whole $4,000. So I'm going to be talking more about this in a separate video, but I wanted to give you guys a heads up on that. Anyway, that's everything for today, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Catch you in the next video. Head on over to my Patreon if you haven't yet. Peace out.